I've said it before, and I will actually say it like forever. It's going to take me forever and a day, or maybe a couple days, maybe a month, forever and a month, to get all these new characters, names and stuff, like the angels, the gods of destruction, everybody, even the respective universe is down packed. I swear, so forgive me if in this video and my other reviews and my discussions, wherever, right, if I say something incorrect, because it's going to take a while. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We're going to be reviewing episode 92 of Dragon Ball Super. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the episode was different. I thought it was a good episode. I didn't think it was like phenomenal or anything like that, but I think it was really well rounded. It was a pretty solid episode. So everything that happened in here kind of revolves around these other universes and of course our universe 7, which is the only universe aside from like 6 and 11, I guess, that I really know about. But then again, they're probably the only really big players anyway, so I digress. But anyways, it revolved around these other universes kind of starting to formulate their teams. And one of the cool things that we saw is that robot looking guy, you know, the god of destruction, his universe basically is built up of other amplified robot type creatures or whatever, you know, specimens, and that's what his team will be basically around. And they're kind of showing off this one robot guy, and he's like, oh well, you know, he can stick on if he's about to fall off, he can completely expand his body. It's just like they're incredibly broken. They're nothing like, you know, Gowasu's universe, who just appears to be total jokes, but I'm sure that they're being played up. And of course, one of those guys, I think the main guy, he has a name that kind of like translates to being like a hopeless team or hopeless warrior or something like that. I feel like that's kind of a red herring for them, and they're probably just playing with us. They're probably going to start kicking some butt, and it's going to be pretty cool. But they're very gag-heavy characters in Gowasu's universe. But this universe is completely contrast to that. You know, they have these characters that are like robots. One thing that I wanted to kind of, you know, get you guys' opinion on, because it's kind of like weighing down on me, like not super heavily, but you know, it's something that I've been wondering or kind of thinking about. It's like, okay, well, in the previous episode, which I didn't actually talk about this, I'm sorry, in the last episode, sometimes I forget things. I've been told by some long-time people, you know who you are, that have been watching the reviews, and like, hey, maybe sometimes you should write them down. Yeah, it's not my thing to write them down and take notes or script or anything, but I forgot to talk about Frost's interaction with Kabe, or excuse me, with Hit in the previous episode. But from that interaction, right, one cool thing that happened there was he was like, lose the needles in your tail, everything, you know, he's like, lose all the modifications basically, because we don't want you to be there cheating. Because of course, if you're cheating and Zeno sees you, or the Daishinkan catches it, which those are some pretty sharp guys, well, mainly the Daishinkan and all the angels there, not really Zeno. I guess Zeno kind of is one of those to be determined characters. We don't know what he can really do. But anyways, he told him to lose all that stuff, but they're expressly going out of their way to make modifications to their warriors. So it's like, is that cheating or is it not cheating? Because it seems like that may be, because even their god of destruction is one of those creatures, or beings, if you will. It seems like that may be like their dominant race over there, kind of like how Earthlings and, you know, stuff like that. And every universe has their dominance. It seems like that may be like an actual race. If they are like, for example, the Metal Men, Magetta's squad, or Magetta's tribe, or whatever, you know what I mean, his Magetta's lineage, basically. If they're like that, then that's understandable, because those guys, I don't think we ever really got any lore into them, but I don't think it was ever said that they were just like created, right? So as long as they're not like machines that were created, I guess it's kind of okay. But it's kind of weird, though. It's just like they're literally modifying their whole team with these impossible gimmicks. But maybe that'll lead to them being defeated earlier. But they even say like they're built to like never go out of the arena. So that's cool. I'll just give you guys that, and I want to hear you guys' opinions in regards to that. But, you know, another big player in this was Caulifla, and I'll get to the Universe 7 stuff, the blue stuff, and all that in a minute. Was Caulifla learning the Super Saiyan technique from Kabe? And that was pretty cool because, you know, when Goku was teaching Gohan, which is the only other real time we've seen a character teaching another one how to do it, because Goten and Trunks innately knew how to do it when they were introduced. Future Trunks knew how to do it when he came back. You know, Future Gohan was teaching him in the anime, but in the manga he already knew it, so you kind of pick your poison with that. But regardless, it was cool seeing Kabe. He's like, I don't really know, I just learned. But kind of what you do is you kind of focus this tingly feeling in the middle of your back, and I was like, oh. And they actually go out of their way to expressly show that happening, so it's like, has this always been a thing, or is this just some contrived BS that they just made up to kind of quantify them showing you how she's doing this? It's like, okay. And then whenever she finally achieves it, and she looks badass, by the way. Caulifla looks badass. She's like, how do I get out of it? He's like, oh, you just release that pressure. And I'm like, well, so does that mean they always have this pressure in the middle of their back? It's like, just imagine somebody like just being transformed. You just feel like somebody just like putting pressure on a specific area of your body. And it's not even like one that you're really particularly used to, like your hand, for example. Your hand always has pressure on it. You're holding something. It's the middle of your damn back. Like, when does your back even get touched? I know mine doesn't very often. So that was interesting. And the whole time, Creeper Kale is back there. She's just literally spying on these guys here, and it's kind of weird because I think that the spoiler said that she has some animosity towards Kabe, which that remains to be seen. But either way, she's kind of back there just watching all of this happen, and Caulifla knew, I guess Kabe wasn't the wiser, but Caulifla knew, and apparently the fact is that Caulifla is the mentor. You know, Kale is her protege, so that's pretty cool as well. And she asks her, which is where they start teasing the Broly thing, because you know Kale is the female Broly, or female kind of like tribute to Broly type character with the legendary transformation, but hasn't been called legendary, and it probably will never be called that. But either way, we know who she is, right? So it's pretty cool to see that. And they're playing with that concept, and she's very like Broly, like a whole lot like Broly. She's just kind of there, seems kind of docile, timid. You know, base form Broly in the first movie, he was kind of like that too, where he just kind of standoffish. She's kind of like that, and you can really see the influence all over her character as far as Broly is concerned. She just completely resembles him. But on top of that, moving from there, we're going to get into the Universe 7 stuff. What happens in Universe 7 is Boo is unable to participate. He's asleep, and I don't know how I feel about this, because they pay homage to the fact that we know beyond shadow of a doubt that Boo is a character that sleeps just for a second. They even say it there. But one thing that they do to kind of cover that and save their butts is it only takes him a second, but if he falls into a deep sleep, he sleeps for 2 months. That's too specific of a date range to like be made up, but it is made up, of course, because it wasn't introduced prior to Super. But you kind of got to give them a pass, because I mean, he was in like one arc previous to Super. I mean, GT doesn't count. He was in one arc, and he was only a good character for like a portion of that arc, so we never really got the chance to truly explore that with him. So we see where they're kind of doing that in Super. So you got to give them a little bit of a pass. I don't particularly like it. And Mr. Satan tried to wake him up all different ways. And he tried to says, oh, yeah, I'll be a part of it. And Goku's like, yeah, you probably don't want to do that. These guys are going to be a lot stronger than the guys that you saw in the exhibition. So he's like, yeah. And he basically like pees himself, but it's sweat like going off his body. It's really gross either way, whether it's pee or sweat. It looks like he peed himself. I think that they just did the sweat thing because they don't want to make it show that he peed himself, but that's what he did. We all know he peed himself. Either way, he sweat himself. And Goku goes back, and these guys, by the time Goku gets back, they have found out Goku was lying about the Zenny, which is a big player. I was like, yeah, I kind of figured that they're going to find out eventually. They're going to get to the end of the tournament and be like, oh, there's actually no prize. Well, F you, Goku. And Krillin's like, oh, I wish you would have told me. And Goku's like, will you join? He's like, no. And I was like, this man. And even other guys like, oh, that was almost a moving argument, you know, but until the end there, he messed it up. And Beerus is like, if you don't join, I'm going to freaking Hakai you. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll join, okay. And from there, what happens is Bulma basically says she's going to pay for everybody that wants the Zenny prize, basically. And Vegeta actually, by the way, prior to this, Vegeta breaks out of the time chamber again. He does not care about Popo's warning. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that Popo is going to get in that booty next time he sees him. Popo about to get in that. Man, next time he tries to go use that chamber, he's going to be like, nah, we're going to have a fist. They're gonna square up, bro, in the middle of the street. It's going to be, oh, the middle of Kami's Lookout. Oh, that's going to be, oh, that would be an amazing episode. Leave a like for that one in the comments down below. But anyways, you know, Goku gets busted, and Beerus is like, oh, this universe, I can't believe all you guys are just you know, this universe is so expansive and all of you fighters are from this one putrid Earth, and this is all because you guys destroyed the Frieza army. Because if you know, the Frieza army is basically comprised of the strongest warriors, or was at some point, you know, because they had the Ginyu Force, they had Zarbon and Dory, which in hindsight aren't very powerful characters, but at that time in the series, they were among the strongest characters, period, in the Dragon Ball universe that we were aware of. So, you know, that kind of turns into, well, actually, let's go get Frieza, which is where the next episode is going to be at. So it was pretty cool. I do think that there were a couple issues in there, because I kind of wondered how like Gohan would handle that Frieza thing, and they kind of play it off a little bit. They don't really dive into his whole opinion in that, but that may happen in the next episode. And I did like to see the way that Caulifla was able to just ascend into Super Saiyan. They really show that she is a prodigy in every sense of the word. So there is that. And one thing I kind of wanted to see more, and which of course is another thing we'll probably see more of, is Kale, actually, because they play with the idea of her transforming. In the preview for the next episode, it shows that she actually is going to be doing the transformation. The one that was actually in the promo, like before we even started this arc, or as soon as we ended the last arc, whatever it was, you know, where she's just like going super small and then she just goes really big. It's just, that's gonna happen. So that's pretty cool. Let me know your thoughts on the episode down below in the comment section. Which part of the episode was your favorite and why? As always, thank you guys for the continued support, and I love all you guys that watch these discussions and super reviews, because I can't make you guys watch anything I put out, for one, but I do appreciate the guys that watch everything. Like, I really do. Or even just watch these as opposed to the Dokkan stuff or gameplay stuff, because I can always, you know, keep that stuff coming. But I really have a special place in my heart for the reviews and the discussions I put out every week. So thank you guys for the continued support. Really quick note, I recorded this whole review, this one, specifically this one, in my undies. Catch you later.